In this video, we are going to be looking at average cost in the short run and in the long run. Average cost, by definition, is the cost per unit of output. That is what it takes to produce 1 unit of output. For instance, if you produce 200 units, then the question is, how much does it take to produce one of that 100? So what it takes to produce one of that 100 units of output is average cost. It's average cost, that is cost per unit of output. What it takes, the expenses incurred to produce one of that 200 is average cost. Excuse me. Now, because we are looking at average cost in the short run, we need to understand what is meant to be in the short run for a firm and what is meant to be in the long run for a firm. Now, a firm will be in the short run when at least one of its assets is fixed. That is, a firm will be in the short run when at least one of its assets does not change as it produces more of output. So as it produces more, a particular asset is not changing. So for instance, school, building, when you get more intake, you don't need to build more buildings. Of course, that building is fixed asset. Now, by the time you start, admitting students to the school, at a point in time, you're going to fully utilize the capacity of that building. Now, immediately you utilize the capacity of the building, then there is no need for you to have another building because of the new intakes. So when you get new buildings because of the new intakes, then you are now in the long run. Because the building that we see as fixed asset now is no more fixed, it now varies. Do you understand that? It varies because of more intake. So when you are in a situation or a period of time whereby all your assets change as a result to the fact that you want to produce more, then you are in the long run. Do you understand? So when none of your assets is fixed, when you have bought all your assets second time or third time just because you want to increase the production level, then you are in the long run. So a school is in the long run when it builds more buildings to accommodate more students. Now, but in the long run, let me give you this curve, average cost curve in the short run. Look at this curve. Please take note. It's always U-shaped as traditional curve, and it's always at the highest point. The average cost will always, the cost per unit of output is always high at the initial stage of production. But by the time you produce more, the average cost will be falling. The average cost will be falling. At the initial stage, let's say it is 10. Second stage, let's say this is 12. Then we now have, so when we produce 15 units now, let's say this is 50, this is 40. So this is average cost, this is quantity. So at the initial stage, when you produce 10, the average cost is 70. When you produce 12, the average cost is 50. When you produce 15, the average cost is what? Is 40. So the higher the output produced, the lower the average cost, the cost per unit of output. Now, when your average cost is at this point, it starts falling. Then at this point, from here, it starts rising. So when it gets to this point B, that is minimum point. That is the point at which the fixed cost capacity has been fully utilized. The building you are using, you are fully utilized that you need to build another building. And if you are using plant, the plant you are using as your fixed cost, when it gets to this point of your curve, it means you have fully utilized the space or the capacity of that plant. So a rational producer will need to get another capacity. If it is building, we need to get another building. If it is machine, we need to get another machine. If it is plant, he needs to get another machine plant at this point in time in order to produce more. Only if he doesn't want to earn more. But if he continues buying more materials, then what happens to this falling AC? It's going to be rising. But for it not to be rising, then you need to get new plants, new buildings to accommodate. Now, let's now have this. This average cost, this is the point we are talking about. where what happens here? This is the minimum point, and what happens? The capacity of the what? Of the fixed cost has been fully utilized, fixed asset has been fully utilized. Then we need to buy another building. Then another building, the average cost of another building will start from here. We start from here. This is average cost 1, this will now be average cost 2. Then you can see that what happens now? The average cost starts falling again, Then at this point it wants to be rising. It means at this point now you have fully utilized the capacity of the second asset or second plant or second building. Then you need to build another one. Then from this point you have another average cost. That is average cost 3. That's for plant 3. Then at this point again, this is the minimum point. Then you build another one, average cost 4. So this is long run average cost curve, and it is called planning curve. Average cost curve in the long run is called planning curve because it shows what happens to the cost of a firm when it increases its plants. So as plants of a firm increases, then the average cost shows what happens to firm when it increases its firm's plants. Do you understand that? So that is why it's called planning curve. It's a curve that shows the cost of a firm when it has multiple plants. Do you understand? So that is, this one is average cost curve in the short run when at least one asset is fixed. This is average cost curve in the long run when all assets are varied. None of them is fixed anymore. Because that's the difference. Thank you.